the theme given to me for this panel discussion is, of course, best practices on manufacturing excellence and also the interesting concept of Digital 4.0. Now, the stated aim of the government is to bring the participation of the manufacturing sector in our economy from 16% to 25% by 2025. This is not going to happen without Digital 4.0. So what is Digital 4.0? It's the next industrial revolution. And I have with me two speakers whose companies have really displayed how this can be done. So thank you so much, Ms. Mukundan, Ms. Pandey, for joining us on this discussion today. Let me begin by asking you, Mr. Mukundan, because you've already been looking at the practical rollout of, what digital manufacturing is, or manufacturing 4.0. What has that experience been like, and has it been a game changer?
Digital is actually an enabler as far as we are concerned, and it enables us to actually power some of the stakeholders. At the heart of it is, how do you sort of empower employees, frontline employees, to take decisions? How do you sort of free up their time to actually think about a process rather than be subject to the process itself? Secondly, it must sort of enable customers. For customers, the issues like visibility is very important. For customers, the traceability is very important. Where is their product in the supply chain? Where is their, can they trace back to the main products? I think smart manufacturing enables all that. When you come to supply side and manufacturing side, again, Digital 4.0 enables you to handle variability, because inputs can vary from one source to another, but you're still able to produce to a quality which you need. It enables you to adhere to highest quality standards, and at the end of the day also, by ensuring uptime is high, you're able to reduce cost and sort of deliver to a much wider customer base than what you would have had had the cost been high. Having said that, I think we can't forget two fundamental elements of any process like this. Digitalization and sustainability are two important forces, but at the end of the day, it must make a big impact on revenue, which means it should enable you to increase your revenue, and at the same time, it should also enable you to reduce your cost. If these two it is not doing, it obviously is not serving purpose. So I think one of the key things we say, keep it simple, make sure it is able to address the levers of revenue and levers of cost. Finally, there is an element of investment one needs to make in capability, in terms of people, investment which you need to make in terms of infrastructure. And lastly, as you digitize, there's one big threat which is out there, which is cybersecurity threat. You need to be aware and you need to be on top of that, because I think these are all the various elements one needs to keep an eye on. But it is a revolution which is underway, and I think everyone from small to big have to participate in this process.
Can you give us a little glimpse on those levels of revenue and cost? Because, this is an example. What Tata Chemicals has done is an example of, how you can really roll out digital manufacturing. So what can you share with us in terms of what difference it's made?
So I think one of the first things we did was, in terms of our production efficiency, let me go a bit technical here, depends on the tower efficiency of the process. Now, we had done a digital twin of the tower and enabled that and hooked that up to the control panel operators. And we defined what is called a golden batch, which means that if it is within that narrow band, all the efficiency parameters are at the highest level. And it obviously gave us 3 to 4% better cost than what it was without it. More importantly, I just went and met the workmen, the operators at the control panel, and asked them, does it make a big difference to you? Do you see this as a threat? And invariably, their thing was that we didn't know why we didn't adopt it earlier, because it has made their life simpler. They can look at things beyond what they were every day worried about. So I think all in all, it's a win-win. And fundamentally, it addressed a very simple issue on variability. That's it. So you take a simple item like variability, reduce variability, you get cost out of the system, and you actually enable your workforce to be more productive.
I think a very important aspect there on workforce feeling insecure about it. Ms. Pandey, please share your experiences at Cummins, which has also done great work with digital manufacturing. And what is the impact on the workforce? The broad thought is that the more you digitize, the more you use technology, the lesser bodies you need, the lesser people you need. Have you seen that happening?
Actually, I would say on the contrary, it's about redeployment of the existing resources, reskilling them to more high-end, how should I say, skills. So all of this digital environment requires to be maintained, right? It is not sustained if it's not in-house maintained. I should say that, right? You want to make sure that the maintenance team is in-house, your operators are able to read the graphs and the charts that are coming out of this digital closed-loop systems. And it's very energizing for the workforce. It's new skills that they acquire in the process. I want to give you an example of our fuel systems plant right now. Fuel system that is there on your engines, they require umpteen amount of clean environment, high precision machining. In this environment, we introduced something called as COBOs and sort of brought a closed loop digital system. Like Mr. Mukundan pointed out, variation reduced, scraps levels went down, and there was a predictability in terms of output. So productivity levels went up by 10% in our shops because of digitization. The operators felt ownership around this result, wanted to make sure they continue to contribute, reskill themselves, and sustain this improvement. So it's a very positive impact that I've seen of digitization on productivity, on human motivation to work alongside the machine to bring the best output for the company.
Yes, but larger picture, this is your existing workforce is now upskilling and learning, new skills. But the idea of pushing manufacturing sector further in our country, in our context, is also because you have a large number of hands that need work. And in that context, do you think that both can work together, that you can increase output and work for people? Ms. Pandey, that question to you first.
Absolutely. See, the idea is how do you sweat man, machine, technology to get the maximum output? India has this unique opportunity to be a major export hub on the manufacturing side, like never before. Clearly, the geopolitical situation is sort of promoting it. Absolutely. So, as companies, we would want to make sure productivity levels go up so we can support our export ambitions as well. And this is a huge way of getting more output out. And so if it can be done in a collaborative manner where man, machine, process, everything works together so that you can not only address the domestic demand but also meet the needs of export, I think it's a very quick solution to bring more content, more business to India for the world.
Mr. Mukundan, your thoughts on how digital transformation of manufacturing can also take people along, increase employment as well, and the quality of work in an environment where Ms. Pandey gave me the perfect segue. The world is looking at a China plus option, and India is at that very interesting sweet spot.
I don't want to call it China plus, I want to call it India plus. India has a role to play, and India plus, I think we should focus on India, and I think, please clap more, if you want to. But the real issue is, I think if you really want to dispel notions of distrust and have trust built in the system, I think the first thing is to involve the workforce from very beginning. I think it is not that this is done in some boardroom and decision is taken and a rollout happens. You involve them from the very beginning. But let me give a broad example of where a sector, I'm talking about chemical sector, we are about 178 billion today in terms of turnover. Next 5 years, we're probably looking at 300 billion. So that is almost creating 2/3 of the sector in next 5 years. And while you can throw capital at it, you can throw equipments at it, you're not going to get people to run them. So you need to expand the number of people who come in, and they have to become more productive. One of the big things I've seen, especially in chemical plants with the policy of, addressing that everybody could come and work, in few of our plants now, it is all women workforce. And it is much easier for them to press few buttons and go on the field with a, walkie-talkie and to sort of relay what's happening rather than, using huge power to sort of close a valve, open the valve. These are all opened remotely and closed remotely. So I think firstly what you're doing by this is not just you're addressing the needs, workforce needs, you're also increasing the workforce availability. 50% of the workforce has been outside, you're bringing them in. And I think this is a must for India as it progresses towards 5 trillion, and somebody has already said we'll be close to 10 trillion, but the growth is already on us. So the India which got created in the 75 years, we're going to create a similar size of India in the next 7 to 10 years. I think that needs a huge number of people and their productivity to go up. And I think this is one of the key elements of that piece.
I think I want to ask Ms. Pandey about, how digital manufacturing also adds diversity in the workplace.
Well, not just digital manufacturing. I would say it's a unique opportunity to have women in workforce in, without digitization as well. Want to emphasize that point.
Yes.
And here I want to quote how we went about it, right? And it's a great platform to share the journey. When digitization was not as popular, we went about this diversity and inclusion journey at Cummins. We reduced the heights of the machine because the average height of Indian women is not, as high, right? So we reduced the height of the machines to make sure it's inclusive in nature. We added hydraulics, and certainly now with digitization, to make it an inclusive environment. And happy to share some of our high horsepower plants where we are building a 60-liter size genset are manned by, or I should say, powered by women on the shop floor. I think, we turned the overall problem on its head. The question was, we don't get enough women in mechanical engineering field. There is not enough, ITI, skilled workforce. We have opened 2 College of Engineering for women, Cummins College of Engineering for mechanical branch. We've also sponsored a lot of ITIs to make sure that women participation increases. So certainly this journey has been excellent. I can talk about our own experience.
Wow.
The numbers share that. And digitization will only enhance this environment, right? So
absolutely. We're well on that way of digital manufacturing 4.0. And thank you so much to both of you for giving us the time and sharing your experiences in pursuit of excellence. Thank you.